Hey there everyone, what's up? Back today with another impressions video. And this one is a recently released title for the PS3. Um, I- I'm gonna... I got mixed feelings about this one. This one is Lost Planet 3. And Lost Planet 3 I bought recently because it was cheap. I mean, obviously it didn't sell very well, and it got... very middling reviews, and the prices dropped on it dramatically. I mean, I got it for about 20 bucks new, and in my Japanese video, when I was talking about it initially, somebody told me they got it for $10 new. So it's cheap here. So I can only assume that it's super cheap in the US as well, or I guess wherever else it was released. But let's talk about Lost Planet 3 because it did get a lot of not so great reviews, some good reviews, but mostly middle of the road to on the lower end of that. And I want to talk about my feelings about Lost Planet. First, well, like I said, I have mixed feelings about Lost Planet. Um, and I think you'll understand this more as I talk about it. Lost Planet 3 is horribly disappointing if you wanted to play another Lost Planet game. And I say that because it's not like Lost Planet 1 or Lost Planet 2. It's, I mean, the whole system of the game is entirely different. The way the characters control is different. The way the weapons work is different. The way the health works in the game is different. Everything is different. The monsters are not even really the same. There are there are monsters that show up from previous games, yes, but the way you fight them is different. The way the whole game works is different. So I could see if you were a fan of Lost Planet, and I'm a fan of Lost Planet. I like Lost Planet 1 a lot. I liked Lost Planet 2 a lot. I mean, it was really good. Lost Planet 2, if you play as a co-op game, I didn't play it single player at all. I played it entirely as a co-op game, and it was fantastic as a co-op game. I played with 3 other friends, and we had a great time with Lost Planet 2. I could see why it wouldn't be so fun single player actually, but if you have friends to play it with, that game is great. I think everybody who played it unanimously agreed that it was a ton of fun to play as a co-op game. It was probably one of the best co-op games we'd ever played together. And I played tons of co-op games with my friends, but Lost Planet 2 was spectacular. Um, but Lost Planet 3, it doesn't have co-op. It doesn't even have giant monsters to fight. Lost Planet 2 was filled with giant things. It was like, giant worms that will swallow you, and you can fight them from the inside. Like, it's crazy. But Lost Planet 3 doesn't have anything like that. Most of the monsters are not very big. And there are bigger ones, but even then, they're not like... If you've played the other two, there's like something called G-Acrid, which are like the huge giant ones. I mean, they're G-class, is like they're like showing up on radar from space big. But Lost Planet 3 doesn't have anything that big. It doesn't even have anything as big as some of the just regular enemies in Lost Planet 2. So it's totally different in feeling from the other games. So if you go into it wanting more Lost Planet, you're not going to get Lost Planet. You're going to get something entirely different. But here's where the mixed part comes in. The thing that came out of it is actually pretty good. I honestly, I can understand if you played the other two and you just wanted more of that, and then you bought this one, you're like, this game sucks because it's not Lost Planet. I can totally understand that. Everything works differently. But if you've never played Lost Planet and you want to play a game that is somewhat of a science fiction horror story, Lost Planet is really good. I really enjoyed Lost Planet 3, and at first I was a little put off that it wasn't like the other Lost Planets, but I figured, well, this is Lost Planet 3, it's a totally different game, made by a totally different company. Spark Unlimited, I think, is the person who made it. I can check that. Doesn't say. That's no good. I'm pretty sure it's Spark who made this game. Anyway, Lost Planet 3 is not made by the same people, so it's obviously different, but it's like a total departure. But it plays well. I mean, it's a third-person shooter essentially with kind of free-floating controls. It's not like it plays similar to Mass Effect, except if you could free aim really well in Mass Effect, it's not quite as like auto lock on everything. Kind of, it doesn't like zoom in and lock down on enemies when you're firing. It's a much more free, open kind of aiming. So I kind of enjoyed that. The mechanics are actually pretty good. It doesn't work in the same way. So in the previous games, you had the T energy to collect, and you'd collect the T energy, and it fuels your suit. So if you're damaged and you have T energy, the T energy will be used towards healing you. So if you run out of T energy, you die. Essentially, your health starts to go down. In this game, totally not necessary. T energy is essentially money. You don't use it in the same way. Health and damage works on a regenerating system. If you take damage, the screen color will change, and if you wait, you'll heal back up. It's a standard kind of third-person shooter setup, but it's not a bad one. There's no real, I don't have any real problems with the way the game plays. It plays actually pretty well. The thing is that the main gameplay is not like so important. There's two kind of major ways. There's running around third-person shooting, obviously, and then there's like the mech battles. And the mech battles are kind of slower paced, and they don't have the same kind of like frenetic battling as the gunfights do. It's much more like a kind of slower paced block, counterattack, and destroy your enemies. Your mechs, for story reasons, don't have any like real weapons. They don't have any guns or anything like the previous mechs in Lost Planet 1 and 2. So they're not like battle armaments. They're kind of work tools. They're drilling and kind of landscaping tools. They're not really supposed to be used for battle. So it means that using them for battle is you're not like well equipped for that. And I kind of like that. It doesn't give you it doesn't give you the feeling like you're way overpowered at any point. And what I want to say about Lost Planet 3, I think the main point about Lost Planet 3 is it would be an awesome Aliens game. That's really the way to explain it. Mark Bussler, who does Classic Game Room, mentioned that when he reviewed this game, he said like it reminds him of Aliens. And I thought, well, okay. But upon playing it myself, it would be an awesome Aliens game. If you ignored Colonial Marines, if you wanted Colonial Marines because you liked Aliens, and you got it and you were like, what the hell is this garbage? Lost Planet 3 is a game you should give a shot to, because actually, if you palette swapped the monsters with creatures from the Aliens movies, it would probably be considered one of the best Aliens games out, because there are kind of creatures that are like face huggers. There are the kind of bigger aliens, and then there'll be like like in later movies they're like the bull alien and whatever, the kind of hybrids that were bigger and stronger. Could have totally have done that for this game, because the types aren't that varied. There are not a ton of different types of acrid in this game, which are the aliens. And you even have scenes where like you'll be using those kind of auto machine guns, like in the movie Aliens, when they put down the automatic the sensor controlled machine guns in the hallways. So like when the aliens showed up, the machine guns would fight them themselves. That they're in this game. You literally come across them and find them like in areas where here's the repair the machine guns, and they'll help you fight against the swarms of acrid that are coming into the rooms. It really felt like a good Aliens game. And there are lots of scenes where you'll be crawling into these kind of infested caves, and they're all slimy, and there's eggs that explode, or like those facehugger things will hop out of them. It's really fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. It plays like an action horror science fiction game, like an Aliens movie. And I'm a huge fan of that. I really enjoyed Lost Planet 3 for what it is, not as a Lost Planet game, obviously. It's terrible as a Lost Planet game, but it's awesome as an action sci-fi game. It's really good. The story was good. Um, and they did something that, Aliens games themselves have a ton of trouble with. In Aliens, you have Weyland-Yutani, which is like the kind of evil corporation or whatever. What happens in most Aliens games is that, you end up fighting Weyland-Yutani for the entirety of the game. Like, you'll fight like 5 aliens, and then Weyland-Yutani's thugs for like the majority of the game. It's just like fighting normal people. And Lost Planet has a similar kind of thing. They have Nevek, which is the corporation, the evil corporation for this game. But, they run it really well because the times when you fight Nevek are logical. And the times when, there's, it's really minimal. It's kept to a minimum. When you're fighting things, you're almost always fighting aliens. And when you fight people, it's like almost just the end of the game, essentially. It's kept to a real minimum. And seriously, this would be a really successful as an Aliens game. So if you're one of those people who thought like, I really want to play an Aliens game, but Aliens Colonial Marines look so bad that I don't even want to touch it, buy Lost Planet 3. Seriously, it's good. I had a lot of fun with it. It's probably my favorite action game that I played this year. It's so good that I was I think I cleared it in 2 sittings. Like, it's not that short of a game. It's about 12 hours. It took me about 12 hours, and I did a lot of roaming and stuff, so it might be even less than that if you hurry. But you shouldn't hurry, because a lot of people complained in reviews that, like, you don't get a lot of character development. And I thought, when I was playing it, I thought, yeah, you do. You just have to talk to people. It's optional character development. If you want to just run from mission to mission, you can do that, but you'll miss out on so much stuff. Every time you do a mission and you come back to the base, you can walk around the base and talk to everybody who's around. And all of those people who you talked to originally will have different things to say, and they react differently. So if there's a psychiatrist you can talk to, and like if she'll start babbling on, and if you walk away from her, you can like cut out of the thing. She'll like freak out on you. She'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna put attention deficit disorder in your report," and stuff. Like, it's totally based on if you cut out of the conversation too. She won't like get mad at you if you just wait to the end. So I thought that was a kind of nice touch. And you'll find that sometimes there'll be people in the hallways and stuff, and there'll be like a guy standing near a heater, and you'll come back after a mission, he'll still be there, and he'll be like, I wasn't standing here the whole time. It just appears that way because I'm here again. Or something like that. You'll run down the hallway, and like somebody will like, hey, you should have run in these hallways or whatever. It's really cool. They're kind of like just these situational kind of environmental interactions with people that happen. And they're not going to happen all the time, and they're only going to happen if you go out of your way to find those people. And I had a lot of fun doing that. I kind of enjoyed the characters in this game a lot because, a lot of their interactions weren't mandatory, but when I had them, I had to go search for them, and I had to do it every time. And you did get stories out of the people in the base. You did get stories out of all the workers. You kind of learned something about all of them. And you'll find like, there's some people who are like friendly with each other, and some people don't like each other, and some people who like, there's a guy who plays a guitar, and then the Nevek shows up and takes his guitar away from him. It's that kind of thing. Like, it's a bit of a, character development that's interesting. But I'm gonna run out of time on this. But in the end here, I'm just gonna say Lost Planet was great. Pick it up. Lost Planet 3 is probably cheap. So until next time, see you later.